I thought I would lighten things up a little bit today. Last entry was kind of heavy. Um, I posted it, took it off, put it back on. So doing some of these are um, hard to let out, but they're very cathartic in making. And I don't know, especially with the last one, if anybody could get anything positive out of it, that would be good. But I definitely did not make it with the idea of rescuing somebody. But I wanted to tell this story. This is, I think I'm going to name this one Nanny 911. And not that I was coming to the rescue. Um, Years ago, I worked for this family. I had been a nanny between my junior and senior year in the northern suburbs of Chicago in Lake Forest, and they called us summer girls. And it was my first real opportunity to be a nanny. I had babysat growing up, but I was a full-on nanny then. It was really a cool experience, um, and then I had done it again in 1997 to 2000. I had a family, and they ended up moving back to Utah. Love them. Um, well, they're second to youngest because I saw the youngest be born. I got to be there for that. But the second to youngest had a little boy, and his picture was just on Facebook, and just, oh my gosh, cute, cute, cute. And I remember Ozzy being a little guy. Um, but anyway, so I started with this family in 2005. And I think, I'm not sure what year it happened. It was 2005 or 2006. But the boys, I had twin boys. And darling, I started when they were 18 months old. For some reason, I always get my kids at 18 months old, which means that I have been through the terrible twos with 8 different kids, which is like cruel and unusual punishment, but actually is my very favorite age of kids. So anyway, I had the boys, and the parents were out of town. They had a home in Florida, and there was like a meeting of the people who own the homes in the area, subdivision or whatever. And so they flew down. They had an airplane, and they flew down and went to this meeting. And so I was with the kids during the day, and then another woman was with the kids at night. And so that's how we did it. And well, of the two, I don't want to really call their names out on YouTube, but I'll make fake names. So it was C and R. So R is Ryan, and C is um Cowboy. Cuz that's kind of his spirit. He was a larger than life spirit. I love him. And Ryan was more like my baby, and he was kind of a whiner, but he also is very adept with his hands, just good. And he would mess with stuff, and just he was really good with his hands. And the front door of the house, a big, big brick house, and all this, and the front door was one of those handles that if you opened it, it was kind of like a hinge like that. If you open it from the inside, it was open. There was no, if you push the handle, it would unlock it. And so Ryan kept opening that front door. Well, the problem with that is he would toddle out. I mean, they're kind of like little monkeys. And the mom was like, I don't want them wearing socks around the house, and, really don't wear shoes in the house. And she believed that if their feet were bare, that they would have better traction. She says they're going to climb, so they might as well be sure-footed. And you know what? Hallelujah, mama. You were right. So, when Ryan would get out on that front porch, it was made of slate. The flooring was made out of slate. The big staircases, which are wide and go down, were all made out of this slate stone. And so, if he took a tumble, he would definitely get really hurt. And so, of course, being a nanny, I'm thinking of a million and one ways these kids can get hurt, and how I have to, like, strategize to make sure it doesn't happen. So Ryan kept going up and opened that front door and he'd get out, and oh, I'd scold him and everything. And so I finally went and bought a bungee cord, and I bungee corded because there were two doors. It was a, two doors, grand opening thing, grand doors. And so I bungeed the two handles together so he could open it and get it open about 2 inches and then no further. All right. So the parents are in Florida. She calls me and says, "Hey, we're done. We're going to take off. We're going to be flying. You won't be able to call us, but I'll call you when we've landed." Cool. So went through the day and they had their lunch. And it was time to put them down for their nap. And, just some days, it's kind of the luck of the draw, but every once in a blue moon, it's just a nightmare to put kids down. Not all the time. We had a method. And, but that day, they just would not go down. And you had to put Cowboy down first because if you put Ryan down first, Cowboy would wake up Ryan. Okay. So we had to make Ryan wait. And so I got Cowboy down and then finally wrestled him down. And it literally was like wrestling a calf down, finally went to sleep. I mean, I spent an hour and a half putting these guys to sleep. And then, of course, when it was Ryan's turn, because he'd been such a good boy and waited, I would snuggle him extra and just cuddle him and sing to him and just kiss him. And so he really got the sweet stuff. But finally got the little monsters to sleep. Well, Sarah, the girl that was doing the night shift, we would come and go through the garage. We had the passcode to open up the garage, and there was a door that entered through the laundry room. Well, that door never, ever got locked. But Sarah kind of didn't do that or know that, and so she, locked that door. Now, you could go out the door, but you couldn't come back in. And that's what happened. I wanted to run out to the car and get something out of my car, and I just didn't think about it, and the door locked. And I'm like, oh crap. Now there's snow on the ground. I've got no jacket, and I'm now locked out of the house. I did have my phone with me, but I couldn't call the mom because they're in the air. And I'm thinking, well, what do I call the police? And what are they going to do? How are they going to get in the house? And how do I prove to them that I belong in this house? So I said some 911 prayers. I'm like, please, Heavenly Father, anything you can give me. And the coolest thing happened. I got this step by step by step by step by step plan on how to get in the house. I mean, he laid it all right out for me. And I'm just like, there's no way. But I'm going to try it. First thing I did, I put the dad's shoes on. He had some like loafer shoes that kind of lived in the garage and warm outside. So I put his shoes on, and I don't know that I found a jacket in there, but they had these little Rubbermaid cabinets, and the Spirit said, get those big, clipper things. Well, I found some big old clipper things in there. And the Spirit says, now go around the front, wake up the boys, have Ryan come to the door, try to open it, and you can clip the thing with the clippers. Like, okay. So I go around the front of the house. It's a big, big brick house. And I climb up on this thing, and I can see they've got like this big, huge window. And so I climb up on where the flowers would be, and I'm knocking on their window. And of course, they're fast asleep because they wrestled their way down. Now they're snoozing. And I keep knocking. Well, finally, they had like, it was the second stage from cribs down. So it would look like a crib, but the bed part was lower. Anyway, they kind of pop up, and I see blink, 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 blink. And there's their little eyes with their little pacifiers in their mouth. They're just sucking it, blinking at me. And I was like, come here, come here, come here. Well, there were 2 rocking chairs in front of the windows. So they crawled out. I mean, they could crawl in and out of those things. No. There was no keeping them in them. They would allow you to put them in them. So anyway, one sec. Excuse me. But anyway, So they're both on the rocker, and I'm like, "Hey, boys, come to the door. Let Miss Lesley in." And I was like, "Come on, come on." So I got out or I walked towards the door, and I'm like over at the door, and I'm hollering, "Hey, Ryan! Hey, cowboy! Come on, come let Miss Lesley in!" And nothing, nothing, nothing. And I'm thinking they're still looking out the window for me because they can hear me, can't see me. So I crawl up there and I look over, and there they are. They're looking around the yard and all that to see me, and of course they can't see me. I'm like, "Boys, come over to the door, and let Miss Lesley in. Come on." And I'm like hollering and trying to get in. I'm standing at the door and I'm knocking, knocking, knocking and ringing, ringing, ringing. Let me in, let me in, let me in. Hey, boys. And so they were able to make it out there. And there's this entryway. And so they're standing this entryway and they walk up to the door on their pacifiers, blink, 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 got their blankets. And they're standing on the other side of the door looking at me. And I'm like, "Open the door, Miss Lesley in. And Ryan, who I can just see through this beautiful like stained glass, but it's all like white and clear. And I can see Ryan looking at me through the door like, "Yeah, right. I open this door, you're gonna bust my butt, as you have every day for a while." And I'm like, "No, no, no, no. It's okay to open the door. Come on." So he tried it. Cowboy tried it once, but he can't do it. Ryan tried to do it and he didn't do it very good and it closed. And then I was like, "Come on, you can do this. You can do this." And so Ryan goes ahead and he pulls that handle. And as soon as he pulled that handle and the door went click, I shoved my foot in it and was able to get the gap in the door. I took my big things and I clipped that bungee cord, and I was in the house. And it totally worked. Step by step by step. Followed what I was told to do, and everything worked. Amazingly worked. About 5 minutes later, both boys were in their high chairs with cookies and milk. And it was just so awesome. And it's one of my favorite stories because when I was first told step by step how to do it, I'm like, "You got to be kidding. There's no way I can get them to the door and, all this stuff." It just seemed impossible. But I followed the plan and it worked. And the other thing was it was all laid out. It was all like, "Here you go. This is what you need to do." And I just followed the program. And so that's one of my favorite stories with those guys. I love them so much. They're going to be 17 this year. I saw a cowboy. Ryan didn't come with his dad. They kind of moved down to another town a ways. But anyway, I saw a cowboy and his dad out at Flam's Orchards, and just got the biggest hug. And he's like, "Oh, Ryan's gonna be so mad he missed you." But they're my wonderful, wonderful little boys, and we had an amazing time. But we had many other adventures, many other adventures. One really quick one, real quick, quick, quick. I am big into preparedness. It's just my thing. So we talked about things to do. And so this is I homeschooled him. But one of the things I told him to do is what to do in case of a fire. And I usually do this with all my kids. I just want my kids to be prepared. And so I said, "Okay, what you're going to do if there's a fire, you smell smoke or something like that, what you do is you run out the front door and you go sit on what they called the frog pond." What it was is this big fountain, and it was supposed to have shooting water, and it's got like this pool on it. Well, it never did get finished. And so frogs would come in there, lay eggs. And so it got called a frog pond. And it's kind of a nod to these people because they had this huge, beautiful house and all this stuff, but yet, they were very classy people. They were good, nice, clean, cool, classy people with a little tint of hillbillies in there. So I love the fact that they call it the frog pond. But anyway, I said, you go sit on that frog pond and you wait, because fire trucks are going to come rolling in here, and they need to know where you are and that you're safe. So they were painting the upstairs, and it was going to be a living space for the boys because they'd gotten older, and it was beautiful up there. It had two bedrooms, Jack and Jill bedrooms, and it had this common area, and it was just really nice, great for like teenagers and older kids. And so, but they were having it painted and all this. Well, apparently the um, paint fumes had got into the smoke alarm system, and unbeknownst to me, the house speaks. It says, "Fire on third floor. Fire on third floor. Evacuate now." And the boys and I had happened to be in the basement messing around with stuff. And so I was like, okay, boys, fire, 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 fire. And so that's all I had to say. And those boys raced up those stairs, raced out that front door. And now they're older now. I mean, not old teenager, but older now. Raced up those stairs, out that front door, and had their butts sitting on that frog pond in like 1 minute flat. And I was searching out, and the guys that were painting had gone to lunch, so they weren't up there. And so it really was, I didn't know if there was a fire up there, but I was so proud of them. And of course the fire truck came, and they were sitting right where they were supposed to. And I don't know, I was just so proud of them. I was so proud of them. Anyway, that's one of my sweet fun memories of those kids. I have 21 kids, so there's lots of stories. But yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. Thanks for listening. I love you.